Yo, what is going on, Comfy Gang? It's Comfy Neat here. First of all, sorry for the long wait in between videos. Fortunately, I'm still hopelessly addicted to watching anime, so I guess it's probably going to take a while for me to get back into the habit of uploading videos pretty regularly, at least until I finish a lot of the series that I want to watch or start to get tired of anime. But anyways, for this video, I wanted to talk about something that I think a lot of people can relate to, and that is that I guess a lot of us have this sort of innate dislike, fear, or hatred of silence. And before we start the video, I think it's important to distinguish between the two different types of silence, which I'm going to mention in this video, talk about in this video. So the first type of silence is, the silence that happens in social situations. For example, let's say you're out in public, or let's say, maybe back in the day when you still had friends, or let's say when you're with friends, if you're not like a NEET or, just a degen basement dweller like me. Let's say you're out with a group of people and, you say something and then they don't say anything back to you, or you're in the middle of a conversation that's going pretty, going pretty smoothly. Everybody's talking except you, of course. And when you say something, all of a sudden, the conversation just, dies down, and, all of a sudden everything's really awkward and quiet. And, usually I think that's pretty much the first type of silence, which I'm referring to. And well, obviously when things go quiet in a social situation, it's usually not a good thing because, well, people, I think generally want to keep talking. I don't know why that's a thing, because obviously there really isn't anything inherently wrong with, a conversation dying out, because at the end of the day, most conversations are really just, vapid nonsense. And, maybe like 80 to 90% of the time, people aren't actually talking about anything like that important. It's more about, just contributing to the quote unquote vibe, or, just, making sure everybody is comfortable, when you're getting to know each other. Most talk is really just small talk. And I guess when that dies, for whatever reason, despite that, there's something just so unsettling about a conversation dying out. And it's even more unsettling when you're the one that causes it to die out. And, the other one is, obviously being ignored, because that's usually a sign of, usually a sign that, maybe the person that's ignoring you has, something against you, or, maybe they're a potential threat. And your brain is constantly looking out for threats and, negative things in the environment. And therefore, when that happens, silence is usually an indication of something negative in a social situation, even though in reality, it could just be that, the person sitting across from you is just equally awkward and anxious as you are. Although in my case, I'm pretty sure I'm the more awkward one. And I guess in a lot of, people who are like me, or maybe that's what we think, maybe in reality, that's a thing, right? Where, when you tell people that you feel awkward, they're like, and that's why you're quiet, they're like, oh, I feel awkward too. And, all that. But in reality, I don't know if that's how true that is. Like, maybe they're just saying that to be nice, but that's besides the point. The second type of silence, which I want to talk about, is, I think what I intended to be the main topic of discussion for this video. And, that's just, silence when you're alone. And I don't know, personally, it's not like I consciously avoid silence, but it's really just an automatic thing at this point where, let's say when I wake up, I immediately, go to my computer, or I immediately go to my phone and immediately start looking at, listening to music, or, looking at videos with the allotted time that I have, or, just, doing something that creates any sort of sound. And even when I'm, let's say, for example, doing something like playing guitar, which already creates sound, or let's say I'm on my phone, playing a gotcha game. Um, Despite that, even though these things might make sound, or let's say they don't make sound, I still end up finding myself, turning on the computer and, letting a YouTube video play, or, letting an anime play, even though I'm not actually watching the anime or the video, or I'm not even listening to it per se. It's more just the fact that there has to be some sort of background noise that's sort of going on to, I don't know, keep my mind at ease. I don't know if maybe I'm addicted to that background noise, or maybe if it's because I associate that background noise with the sort of passive consumption of useless information that I usually engage in. Maybe it's that I actually am absorbing, information passively, and maybe that's why I like it. But I think beyond that, it's just I, for whatever reason, really don't like silence, because when I'm alone by myself in silence, that sort of leaves a lot of room for, my mind to go wild. And, I feel like that's when all of these sort of negative thoughts seem to come up. Sometimes that's not necessarily the case, but oftentimes that can be where I start to recall things that really embarrass me, and then that sort of makes me feel like crap. And a lot of the time, it's not just really thoughts, but it's just more so the fact that, a lot of sort of unpleasant emotions that I guess I seem to be keeping bottled up, seem to start to surface whenever I'm left alone in silence. And I don't know the reason for this, but I think, I don't know, I guess the noise and the information, all the distraction and stuff is really just a way for me to basically sort of distract myself from whatever is going on inside me. And because, well, there's a lot of, I guess, shit that's going on inside me. And, honestly, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what exactly that is, because I'm just constantly avoiding it. And maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe I should be, spending, some time by myself and just, I guess it wouldn't even be meditating, or maybe it would be meditating, or, just being alone and just letting all the negative emotions come to the surface. But of course, given that I literally have no backbone and I really don't want to deal with that stuff, and just more so the fact that it's impossible for me to do the right thing, I guess. I just constantly avoid the issue, and therefore I guess feel the need to, play videos, or, play some random Netflix series that I'm not really paying attention to. For example, one such series would be, World War II in color. I guess I'm interested in World War II, but I'm not that interested in it. So I really have no idea why I would ever play that series, when it's honestly, the narration is kind of boring, but it's just pretty much anything that will basically keep the silence at bay. And another interesting thing that I noticed is that a lot of the times when I'm breaking the silence with, noise, I feel like it has to be, my noise of choice is usually, something that involves the human voice. Maybe it's, someone talking about something, or, someone narrating something, or maybe it's something, that involves, people socializing. Like, I like playing videos with people, just, I guess, people talking and laughing and having fun, or just living their lives, vlogging, all the things that I'm not really doing because I don't really have a life. And yeah, pretty sad. But I guess maybe the reason for that is, some part of me unconsciously craves human interaction, but doesn't have the willpower or motivation to actually go through with it, or maybe is just not willing to get over the fear of people that I have. So as a result, playing videos of people socializing and just listening to it in the background is maybe, just my sort of way of coping, and sort of the sort of next best thing to being in public, because I guess when you're alone in your room for so long, I think it can start to drive you crazy, especially given the stuff that I talked about earlier about, silence being a natural. Did I talk about that? I honestly don't remember, but basically something about how silence is a pretty, I don't think I did, but yeah, basically, yeah, silence is pretty unnatural if you think about it. Let's say when we were out in nature well, not us, but when our monkey ancestors were out in nature, there's basically a ton of noise of, crickets chirping and, other shit, fucking leaves rustling in the wind and fucking animals taking a shit and farting and releasing methane gas. And yeah, that was pretty common. So when that sort of went away in modern civilization, I guess that obviously probably will mess with your brain somewhat, and I'm pretty sure it's probably messing with mine. And part of that is, just not being around people. I think human beings are sort of, require a certain amount of social interaction. And it's not, if you sort of break it down into its sort of elementary components, part of that social interaction is really just hearing other people talk. So while I'm not really getting, full on discussions with people, and I'm not really full on interacting with people, I'm at least, getting that sort of one component of social interaction, which is sort of, the sound of people talking and, being in an environment where people are talking with each other. And I'm sure maybe that's one sort of unconscious way that I'm sort of keeping insanity at bay. Because when you think about how people are put in, for example, when people are put in solitary confinement in prison, a lot of times, these sort of solitary confinement rooms are often devoid of sound, and they're deliberately designed to be soundproof so as to avoid, the screams of people in solitary confinement leaking out and, I guess, disturbing people. Or maybe it's so that, it's really to sort of drive in the fact that you're alone. But basically what I'm trying to say is that when people are in solitary confinement and they're in these environments that are completely or pretty much almost devoid of sound, then they basically pretty much go crazy within a few days. Not just because there's no, it could be because, well, obviously part of it is because there's pretty much nothing to do, but I think a key component of that is the fact that there's pretty much no sound, and there's just something so unsettling about, there not being any sound, because I feel like that's really when your mind starts to take over and all these negative thoughts seem to come out in droves when there's pretty much, I think sound is essentially a distraction from all of the vile shit that's going on inside your mind. And another example of this would be, I think I read about this somewhere, I watched a video about it, where there was this basically, someone created this room that was completely soundproof to the point where that there's literally no sound could reflect off any of the walls because of the special material in the paneling and just the way the room was psychoacoustically designed. And when they experimented seeing how long people could last inside this soundless room. This room is so quiet that you could pretty much hear your heartbeat, because that was pretty much the only thing that was, producing sound, is basically your heartbeat and your breathing. But yeah, it was so quiet that you could pretty much hear your own heartbeat like clearly. And I think the longest someone lasted inside a soundless room, I think within the range of 15 to 30 minutes, which is, and it's not like this room didn't have any light or you couldn't do anything in the room. It's just that, people I think that just goes to show how little people can actually tolerate silence. And maybe, in a sense, that sort of, makes what I'm experiencing, and I guess what a lot of people are experiencing, a lot more normal. And yeah, I think what I was trying to get at, talking about the whole, bringing, wanting to, back to what I was talking about originally, about how, me playing, audio of people talking was more to get at the fact that, silence, basically, I think, reminds me just how lonely I am. And I think, hearing people talk, even if vicariously through, digital media and stuff like that, is sort of, my way of distracting myself from the fact that I'm probably pretty lonely. I tend to forget that when I'm, binging media and stuff like that. But even when I'm playing video games, for example, I feel like it's always nice to have something playing in the background. And I guess, usually that involves another human voice. So it's not like I play ambient music or fucking, rainforest sounds and feel comfortable. Although that might be pretty calming before going to sleep. But anyways, I feel like I've pretty much said all I wanted to say for this video. I really need to get into the habit of making these shorter so I can upload more regularly, and so that'll be less taxing. But who knows? Anyways, this is Comfy NEET signing out. Comfy NEET signing out. I've clearly forgotten how to talk, so please forgive me for that. And peace.